Forbes Books presents Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth with David Radlow. Transformation for a new and better world. Here's David.
Why can't blue chip and mainstream companies across America fill their diversity hiring goals even after spending tens of millions on recruiting? We are here today to discuss the best new service of the year across America. My guest this week on Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth is Alfonso Carney III. Alfonso is the founder of Enrich Scholars, an organization that helps historically underrepresented college students, recent graduates, and early career professionals of color achieve greatness in their career goals. Alfonso knows firsthand the obstacles and opportunities that come with being a person of color in America. He has a diverse and impressive background in finance, consulting, law, and business. Alfonso is here to share with us his insights on how to turn college potential into real-world success. Alfonso, welcome to the podcast.
Mr. Radlow, thank you so much for having me.
Let's first deal with the tremendous problem that requires correction and provides for such a massive opportunity you're dealing with. Here are some facts that you have sent out. Black job applicants are 26% less likely to receive a call back compared to white peers. 50% of students of color graduate with 50% higher student debt burdens. Companies are investing heavily in recruiting diverse talent, but are not always seeing the results they are looking for. You cite Google with $114 million on its diversity program since 2014 with minimal results, and many others as well. Why?
We all read the news and we all know the issues, right? But I think those stats paint a very clear picture of how drastic these problems really are, right? I think you mentioned the black job applicants not getting callbacks. That's crazy, right? I mean, the idea that you could go to college, get great grades or similar grades to your white peers and not get a callback at those differing rates shows how drastic these issues are and how much they affect folks. And on the other side of the market, companies, not just Google, right? Like most companies have some sort of diversity training, diversity program, diversity recruiting program, but they're still not seeing diverse incoming college students. The issue is on both sides of the market. I think there are a bunch of reasons for that. I mean, there's endless reasons for that, starting with just systemic racism in America, right? But specifically, I think that companies are not marketing correctly to this new Gen Z generation. When and how do they hear about job applications? Kids aren't going to career fairs. So you see companies throwing money at the same sort of tactics to find students, and the students are not showing up. On the other side of the market, with students, we've got classic sort of lack of a network, right? They don't have like first generation, especially students of color, don't have family members that have worked at these companies, so they can't get their resume to the top of the pile, right? And the list goes on, but I think those are some massive problems, and that's what we're trying to solve.
So you're placing students of color called scholars at partner companies. Then you plan to refinance their student debt at lower rates in the future? Would you be kind enough to comment on the market size of placements and as well as student loan refinance?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there are I think it's right now, 1.8 million college students of color graduating from school every year, and that number is growing. America will soon be a majority minority country, and that's because we're getting more minorities, young people being born, and then obviously graduating from college. So those numbers are growing. In terms of student loans, students of color have 50% higher loan amounts upon graduation. So they're digging out of them. Not only is it tougher for them to get jobs in the first place, but they're also digging out of a much deeper hole. And our idea is, well, if we can help folks get jobs, then we've actually de-risked them as student loan borrowers. So we're going to offer them the opportunity to refinance their loans at lower rates. Students right now are paying between 8 and 14% at times for their private loans, which will take them decades to pay back. And we've all read the news stories, and we know how massive the student loan problem is, especially with student loans about to restart after the COVID break. So I think it's the perfect time to sort of start offering these services and creating value for the students that are really the stars of this show as they're starting out their careers.
Okay, let's delve right into the value. Would you be so kind to discuss the platform process from recruitment to application to polish and prep to interview placement and then to refinance?
Definitely. So we have developed a tech solution to make this market for underrepresented students getting jobs more efficient. So we bring students into our platform. We coach them up. We introduce them to different types of jobs. What industries might you be interested in? What industries match up with your skill sets and your strengths as a student? And then through our platform, students can learn about these industries, and then they get matched with job opportunities and internship opportunities. And then our platform sort of takes them through the step-by-step process, making sure that they know when they have to do certain things, like get their resumes done, cover letters done, how can they prep well for interviews, all done through our platform, as well as that matching process. So we've got about 1,500 students on the platform right now, and we're growing at about 20 students a day. So it's growing pretty quick. We just sort of eclipsed, yesterday we just got 60 students in one day on the platform. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Oh, that's great. 60 students in one day. How does your student portal play into with task management and job discovery for these students? And what's really attracting so many students of coming in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll start with the second one. The students are attracted to what we're doing, I think, because they have not had sort of a guide. What we're doing doesn't exist, right? Especially for students of color. And so they're attracted to what we're doing because we are good at what we're doing and we're successful. They realize that traditional career services might not work for them. They realize they're sort of lost in a lot of cases on where they want to work. And then once they hear that their friend got a job through Enrich, they'll check it out. And then on down the line through word of mouth, I think is how we've accelerated the growth of students so rapidly. And then the first question I think you asked, the massive thing that we've discovered is just that college kids, as anyone that's been to college knows, have a million things going on, right? So they are not laser focused on one specific thing. They're going to classes, they're playing sports, they're going to parties. In the background, they've got this elephant in the room of, hey, I got to get a job eventually, but for right now, I'm having a great time. So what that ends up in creating is the system where a lot of students are not urgently staying on top of all their tasks. And so what we developed is a great communication system through text and email and other sort of apps to make sure that students know when they have to get their things done, and we'll follow up with students, making sure that they are staying on top of their tasks. That's sort of how our product encourages students to manage their tasks with an eye towards the long game.
How does Enrich Scholars identify and select the students of color who can benefit from these services and also the ones that you desire?
Our product offers resources to any student that really wants to get into the program, right? We partner with students that have 4.0s and go to the top schools in the country. And we partner with students that are at community colleges and may have taken some time off before college or didn't know if they wanted to go to college. And so are not necessarily going for those tip top roles. And so we're not looking for a specific type of student to spend time with. Our product will offer these resources to pretty much any student. What we are looking for is our indications from students' interaction with the portal that they're serious about getting a job. And so when students are on the platform, we are measuring over 100 data points on if they're doing these tasks. Are they watching the videos we ask them to do? Are they interacting with the portal in a way that would indicate their excitement for the job process? After we've determined, hey, this is a great student. This student is serious about it. This student has done the work. Then we'll match them with jobs. It's less about weeding out students from when they log onto the platform, and more so down the line before we're matching them with jobs, if that makes sense, Dave.
Yes, following that up, what you're saying is that their attitude is what you're really looking for, and their ability to take on additional skills and knowledge. And you're finding that if they follow your process, then they get high-paying positions from this. Is that correct? Could you help me with that?
That's exactly correct. We're trying to identify those students that are willing to put in the time it takes to get a job. Like, getting a job is its own job. And the sooner students realize that, the more successful they'll be while they're in college. And so what our process does is help us identify who those students are prior to matching them with our company partners. And that also sort of gets into the value that we're providing for our company partners. We are providing that first screen against sort of students they might get just by going through career services or on Handshake or on Indeed or LinkedIn looking for new folks. We're already providing a screen. That screen is, hey, this student is interested in your job, in your industry. They've done the work. They're going to interview well, and they wouldn't be matched otherwise. So that's what a lot of our company partners really like about what we do is they're getting quality candidates because the candidates are serious.
Following along with that thought, what are some of the paid summer internship opportunities and full-time employment options that are offered to students that you're able to put forth?
Great question. So we are industry agnostic, which is actually an interesting decision we made. When we started this thing out, the question I always got is, which industry are you going to focus on? And should we focus on finance? Should we do consulting? Should we do tech? And we decided to go industry agnostic. And what I mean by that is we partner with companies across the board. No matter what industry you might be in as a company, we are ready to partner with you. And that's because when we started talking to students about this and what they needed, their interests varied so much, right? We couldn't just go to one school and say, hey, I send the students that want to work in finance, because a lot of these students don't know where they want to work, right? They need some guidance to determine where they want to work. And if they decide they want to go into marketing after they learn a bit about marketing, we need to have a partner in marketing for those students, because we're here for the students first and foremost. But I would say our biggest industries right now are probably finance, tech, so investment banking roles, wealth management roles, computer engineering roles, software engineering roles. But yeah, again, we have management consultants, we have marketers, we have scientists, we've got folks in the entertainment industry, we've got teachers, a lot of teachers. So it really is very varied, but yeah, I've gone over some of the main ones.
Given your industry agnostic, how does that play in while you're getting them through the idea of them finding out what they don't want to do and what they do want to do, appropriate career coaching and interview preparation to the students? And what are some of the tools and resources that they use in addition?
We spent a lot of time developing career discovery information, right? So when you're on the platform, you can go and figure out, what does an entry-level marketer do? Right. And that's a series of videos, that's a series of documents to read. We also offer our partners the opportunity to come in and talk to groups of students. So a lot of what we do is segment students into different tracks. So if you wanted to go into tech, you might be in a tech track as a sophomore. And we have speakers come in and tell you about what's a day in the life at a specific company. And we also have speakers come in and just talk about, hey, how does being Black or Latinx affect working in this industry? What are the challenges that someone in their mid or later career have faced in this industry, to try to get our students prepared, not just for the job, but for being a person of color in a white collar environment. And so I think just to wrap up the answer, Dave, it's we put in a lot of work on the front end to develop these resources for students to learn about myriad industries.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. My understanding right now on your leadership is that you are post-revenue in test right now with Fortune 500s banging at your door and over 2,000 plus seats to fill. You want to comment on some of your blue chip partners, who they are, and if you want to comment if they're in the pipeline or not, if they care for the service. It's just that you've landed some real big fish, and it would be really interesting for the listeners to know, who they are, to get some context.
We started out pretty small. I think it's tough to try to get companies to pay for a service that has not been proven. And so it's been a long road of smaller companies to try to get some placements to show some results and say, hey, this actually works, and this will save you money as a company over the long run, right? But luckily, recently, we've definitely got some blue chip names. Fidelity is a massive one. American Express, Wayfair has been one of our first partners and has really been on the ground level with us to help us develop this. And as they're developing their own processes, how do we fit into those and help us figure out what works the best? We've got partners in banking as well. BTIG is a new partner for us. Havas is a massive partner for us. We've definitely crossed over into sort of, as you say, blue chip names that hire a lot of people. And so, we've got over 6,000 seats to fill right now. And that's sort of why we are scaling up our student recruitment process as well.
Okay, well, trying to stay up with your information is very hard, because you're up to 6,000 plus seats to fill. That's quite incredible. It looks like demand is starting to really show its face, and your credibility, apparently, that in test you've proven yourself to these people that they have confidence and credibility that you can make the mark.
Definitely. The interesting thing about this business and the way that it's grown is to start out, we had more students than we had companies and seats to fill. And then we had more companies and seats to fill, then we had more students, and now we're back to having more companies and seats to fill. And I think our goal and my goal as a manager is to smooth that out over time so that we're recruiting the right amount of students for the right amount of seats that we have to fill. So each student has opportunities, and each of our company partners has great students to hire. But yes, recently it's been great. I mean, like I feel lucky. I feel thankful that we do have the faith of so many sort of big partners, and they believe that what we're doing is working for them.
That's wonderful to hear, and I want to learn more about Enrich Scholars, but we have to stop right here. Coming up in the conclusion of my discussion with Alfonso Carney III, the founder of Enrich Scholars, Alfonso talks about why his organization goes beyond interview placement.
What we're building is a holistic service that'll take students from being a sophomore, even a freshman in college who doesn't know anything about much, all the way through having a successful first few years at their company and actually starting to build wealth in a sustainable way.
To connect with David, go to davidradlow.com. David's book set, The Principles of Cartel Disruption and Secret Stories of Leadership, Growth, and Innovation, are available wherever books are sold. This has been Sustainable Leadership and Disruptive Growth with David Radlow, a presentation of Forbes Books.